So here we are, dreamers. Tuesdays with
Hello.
Jenny and Kim.
You're not getting sick of me yet?
I am not. I love the conversations that we have, and I love the stuff we share. We
Mm-hmm.
both have different perspectives, and yet the same.
And yet the same, I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we just go about things, differently. Like, you're climbing your mountain and I'm climbing mine, right? And they're different.
Exactly.
Everybody's journey
Yeah.
is different. We use different words. We have different feelings about it, but
I really
basically,
think it's helpful, though,
oh,
for
I think so
others to
too.
have
And
different perspectives.
I've told you this many times. I like having conversations about things that people either don't know how to bring up or um, that they really don't even realize we're doing, right?
Right. Yes.
So I
Oh,
think this is a
yes.
great platform that you have here.
Awesome. Well, tonight we're here to talk about spiritual clutter and spiritual litter. Hi, Lynn and Jill and Wanda and Vicky. Wow, we
Hello.
got a crowd. Yay.
It's nice.
It is nice.
Hmm.
So, I don't know. Maybe we'll just talk about what spiritual clutter is. Right? When I think of spiritual clutter, I think it's of it in different ways. I think of it as thoughts and worries and stuff that are a waste of my time and energy. When I think of clutter or litter, you want to call it,
Hmm.
that's what I feel it is negative thoughts about myself or others, worrying over things that I can't change. Um, Even when I think about my own spiritual modalities, right? And keeping myself clear and detached. Hi, Carol.
Hi,
Not
Carol.
taking on others' energies and feelings. Because we talked about it before, where empaths take on those things. But having spiritual clutter and litter is a little bit different than that. Um, but it's no way different than regular clutter that you have in your house or in your space. It can really just be, burying your true self underneath of a bunch of stuff. So you can't see who you really are, and no one else can
Hmm.
either. Right? Hi, Shelly. Wow. Yeah, lots of ladies joining us. So excited.
That's great.
Yeah. And then it's really um, this part of it. I think I had a hard time, articulating it because I feel like it's kind of connected to the feelings of loneliness or isolation, right? So if you're going through something alone and you have no one to discuss those things with, that keeps you in your own thoughts, keeps things just cycling around in your mind, creating more spiritual clutter. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Linda. Hi, Shelley.
Okay, so there are other things that you could consider as spiritual clutter as well. Maybe knowledge or information about something that wasn't really learned, but maybe you read somewhere or you just talked about it with somebody else that you've never really done anything about and it's just floating around in your brain. Hi, Frankie. She has a different name on Facebook,
Oh,
so
right.
she
Loretta. Okay,
lets me know
that's
it's
right.
Frankie.
I haven't seen that name in a while. So, hi, Frankie. I haven't seen it in a while, so I had to remember who that was.
Yes. And I also feel like spiritual clutter could be something that you've started and never really finished. So it goes back into your mind. For example, maybe you started a meditation practice and you set up your space and you got everything you needed and you have the candles and the music, and then you never meditate. You just keep cleaning the space over and over again and
Hmm.
tidying it up and setting it up all pretty, but you never go and sit with yourself in it.
Right.
So those are just some things I think about when I think about spiritual clutter. What about you, Kim?
It's like exactly kind of how you where you started at. It was like, when you got, a messy room, or, like a lot of clutter going on in your house, and you're looking for that one shirt and you can't find it under the pile of laundry because there's just
Yeah.
so much there. Or, something I've been doing lately is going through my closet and giving away a
Hmm.
lot of clothing, because if I, it's taking up space, that I haven't even worn something for, a year.
Right. You
Why
can
am I
definitely
keeping
think of it like that.
it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
So I know myself decluttering, like, repainting my room and my kitchen, and going through my clothing and cupboards and all that stuff too, right?
Hmm.
It just, for me, it's just like, okay, I need to make space for the stuff that I have and that I'm working on, instead of all this other
Right.
junk and taking up 75% of my space, and the
Right.
25% is the stuff that I really want to do. Why is it should be the opposite, right? I
Right.
should have the
Yes.
25% of junk and the 75% of good stuff that I want in my space. And for me,
Or no junk.
or no junk, but I mean, hello, unless you're perfect. Oh, wrong
True.
way.
I have no junk. You're right. I do
I'm
not have
giving
any
you
junk.
mine. Yeah, so that's how I see it. Like, but on this, for me, on the spiritual side, it's, you know, um, like what you said, if you're practicing something and all of a sudden it's like you got too much going on, and it's like I don't know
Yes.
where to put myself. And last year I noticed that I was getting to be that way. I was getting too much in my head, and I had this class and this class and this class and this class, and I was,
Yes.
and then working and then doing everything else that I was doing. I was like, no, it's
It's not junk if you love it and it
yeah, like
feels
my
good to
size
hold it.
3 jeans I'm gonna hold on to forever, right? um
Okay, if I'm holding it and loving it, it's a soft blanket, Vicky. And it's not junk. It's keeping me warm.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, that, when you're driving down the road, and you see the litter on the side of the road, like
Yes.
all the
Yeah.
junk, that's you got to picture your own space around you. Are you seeing that kind of stuff that's wasting space with your energy? Because if you, like, say you, I know this is gross, but say you have garbage around you all the time, that's yucky. Who wants
Yes. And then your mind becomes yucky and your mind becomes cluttered. And so you can't like differentiate anything. You can't get organized. Your
that?
thoughts can't get organized. You're stumbling over yourself and your
Yep.
life. And it's just we need to gain some clarity. And
Hmm.
to do that is cleaning out the clutter and the litter, taking that out. Um, having it just creates confusion and disorganization and maybe even a
Hmm.
little bit of distraction, right? So, and clutter can show up in more than one form, right? So, we're
Mhm.
talking about physical clutter, but there's external distractions as well, or constant sensory input, right? Like, for example, always having the radio on or the TV for background noise. I know lots of people that have that stuff going.
Mhm.
That's constant sensory input, and it's part of multitasking, and it's a huge distraction, and it's keeping you from being with your inner self.
Yes.
I love that, Linda, or it's other people you live with junk. Yes, yes. Yeah, that could be in the external stuff I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, and two, picture if everybody's walking around with this junk around them in their own
Yes.
energy, and then again, we start, being with other people and hanging with other people, and then all of a sudden they have their own junk, and then it starts to get all in. Oh,
And it starts overflowing because we're not containing our own
yeah.
junk to ourselves. We're not keeping house. We're not cleaning things up all the time. And
Mhm.
people, it can make other people feel bogged down too, right? Or
Mhm.
overwhelmed or even insignificant because you have all this stuff that you're putting onto them.
Yeah.
And of course, we all do it. We're
Mhm.
human. It's going to happen. Um, but there's this other thing I was like investigating a little bit. I know what it is. It's like deep thinking, but I didn't know the word for it. It's called ruminating. And that is also considered spiritual clutter or litter. And it's just thinking about something on an in depth level, but overthinking of it. Okay. So, for example, you can sit and ruminate on the nature of existence in general, but that's just sitting in there and you're thinking about it. You're not doing anything about it.
Mhm.
That can create or become some clutter because it's
Right.
just sitting there. You're not doing anything with it. You're not learning from it. You're just sitting amongst and ruminating.
Mhm.
So, what do we do about that? Right? So, how do we take care of all this
We need to
clutter
start
and
having
litter?
a filing cabinet.
Ah,
That's where I started learning this past year with all the different things going on with me, in my courses and stuff that I was taking, that I had to file it after I was done with it. So
right.
if I read a new book, I filed it. If I took a new workshop, I filed it.
Filed it.
So,
Okay, so you're keeping your stuff organized. Very
yeah,
good.
yeah.
And Vicky, I just went through that with opening the business here again. So I tossed it aside and waited for an answer in meditation. Very good. Yes. And Carol, letting it live rent free in your heart, mind, and soul. Yeah, it becomes more than clutter. It becomes like part of the furniture all of a sudden, right?
Hmm.
And you're like bending to it all of a sudden.
Hmm.
And that is just not good for us,
No.
really. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, it can just keep us from being clear and calm
Yeah.
and aware,
It can, yeah,
honestly.
oh yeah, it'll add
Right?
to the
So,
chaos, anxiety, all the negative
right.
discordant energies. It will just feed. It will feed
Yes.
those, your fears and anxiety and stuff like that if we're not taking care of ourselves, right?
Yep. I think the biggest thing that we don't even think of as spiritual clutter is multitasking.
Mm-hmm.
Multitasking is huge for like distraction and disorganization. It's like it's incomplete stuff. It's moving from one thing to another really, really fast. And how do we distract ourselves from multitasking? Right? I made a whole list of cool things that you could do, like to get rid of the clutter and spiritual clutter, but we all have them. When I was making the list, I was like, these are so common sense things.
Linda's way ahead of you. She's like, write it
There
out,
we go.
release
Write
it,
it
burn
out,
it.
release it, burn it.
Linda
You
knows
got
where
it,
we're
Linda.
going.
Yes, transfer the thoughts to paper and get rid of them because it removes the responsibility when you take it out of your brain and get rid of it, right? Completing a list, set and complete a priorities list. You could get some sleep. Sleep was one of the top ones, I believe. Meditation, practice making decisions and like being decisive, getting out in nature, which is one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I just talked about is reducing multitasking. I've practiced that for many, many years. When you're walking up the stairs, just walking up the stairs, right? Or when you're doing laundry, just doing laundry, not cooking and doing laundry at the same time, or helping your children while you're cooking dinner. You're not present, right? And then things can happen when you're not present. You could burn dinner, or your child might not feel like they're getting your sole attention. So there's lots of things that show up as spiritual clutter, and there's lots of ways to get rid of them. There's lots of methods.
Absolutely. And this is kind of like going back where you were just talking about like being in the moment, mindfulness. I think that was our last week
Yes,
conversation, and how, it all goes together.
everything is
Right?
connected. One
Hmm.
thing connects to another. Very much mind smog or fog. Yes, brain fog, all of it. Um,
Hmm.
you can't focus at
No,
all when you have
no.
all that stuff going on in there.
Yeah, you almost have to like clean out your third eye,
Yeah,
right? Like how
little tiny little broom. Yeah, cleaning it
we
out.
dig in there, and we pull it, and because it just gets to be too much. And
Right.
yeah.
And
um
I'll be the first one to say some things are not easy to do, right? It's not always easy to let go of those mental habits, right?
no, it's
Because we're
not.
afraid of reaching our full potential. And
Hmm.
that's just an underlying fear, of course, right? But we need to become more intentionally focused on placing our attention where we're at, right? So when we're spending the time and the energy, we're wanting to spend that.
Right.
We're not just giving that pile of paper 5 hours of our energy and time and it's still there. Like you go through it and you put it all back and you move it from the side of your desk to the side of your desk. Right? That's a waste of time and energy.
My biggest thing lately I've been noticing, is that I feel like I'm and I don't know why I'm doing this, but I feel like I'm rushing myself through everything I have to do. Like,
Ah,
for
yes.
example, like today's just straightening my hair. Like, who cares how long it takes, right?
Right.
I have a lot of hair. Everybody knows that, and it takes me a while. But I was like rushing myself and I'm thinking, why am I stressing over this? Who
Yep.
cares if it takes, So I did one half. I went out and I sat down and I thought, no, there's no reason to feel and put that pressure on me that I had to have it done in 10 minutes.
Right.
It's just little
Well,
things like that.
I think it's because we're raised that way. We're raised to, time is money, right? So you got to do things efficiently and faster and,
Yeah.
so you can get to the next thing, get to the next thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's not always beneficial for our
No,
lives.
no,
It's definitely not beneficial for our brains
no.
or being in the moment because it can
Right.
create all kinds of havoc on our physical body, even rushing from one
Mhm.
thing to the next like that. Like, I love the saying, it takes as long as it takes.
Yes,
I also am one of those people who says it is what it is.
it is what it is. You know
So,
what you know.
and you know what you and you don't know what you don't know.
That's right. That's right. But since our mindfulness talk, I don't know. I'm hoping everybody has been practicing. I was practicing with folding laundry to
Good
to
for
pay
you.
attention to just folding laundry. Don't let my mind wander every which way because I was in that moment. So that's
Yes.
something I've been practicing as well since our last talk about that.
Good for
So
you.
yeah,
Very
and it
good.
just again, it's like there's no hurry. I'm not on a speed, a
You're
clock.
not on the clock to fold laundry.
No,
What do you
yeah,
takes
just
as long as
being,
it takes.
yeah, exactly.
And
And
that's a good way to practice it, honestly.
yes, it
Right?
just little bits at a time. And
Just
then
because it's
before you know it, you're not even realizing that you're having to
right.
go back and remind yourself kind of thing, right?
Yes, so when you're driving, you're just driving and listening to your radio. Okay,
Hmm.
you're not driving and texting and digging through your glove box and checking on the list inside your head. Yes, I have to do this, this, and this, and this. No, you're just driving. You're focusing on driving, turning where you need to turn, stopping where you need to stop. That's actually a good one to start with too, because it's kind of unsafe to do anything in the car
Well,
except drive.
how many times do you drive home and you're like, I
How
don't
did I get home?
remember going through, over number three highway or something. Like, what? It's like,
Yes,
like
definitely.
everybody has done that. Everybody has done
Mhm.
that.
Yep.
And it's just crazy that we're letting our minds take over. We're letting
Yes.
all this
And they're only taking over
glitter take
because they're
over.
full of junk,
Yeah, we need
right?
to empty our bins.
We do. And so to do that, there are several methods we can do. I think I mentioned getting sleep is one of the most important things you can do for spiritual clutter. Like, not getting enough sleep creates brain fog. And because when you have that much brain fog, you're unfocused, you're distracted, and then it makes it harder to remember everything, where you're keeping things, how to keep things straight in life, remembering what you're supposed to be doing, where you're supposed to be going. And it also disrupts the ability to communicate to others, right? So it's
Right.
very important to get like regular good sleep.
And
And
anybody that
yeah,
is having a hard time sleeping or has fog, going on or cloudiness or whatever, clary sage.
yes.
Clary sage.
It's an
An oil,
essential oil. Yeah.
essential oil that I put in my mister when I sleep.
Oh, so you throw it right in your diffuser?
Oh, yeah, now I am.
That's
Before
fantastic.
I was rubbing it like I mean, sometimes I'll still rub it on my, temples, but, oh, no, I put it in my mister now when we go to sleep, and,
Awesome. Yeah.
yeah,
It's a unique smell, so it's something you have to kind of get used to. But once you get used to it, your body knows what to do with it, right? 'Cause as
mhm,
many of us know that essential oils work on a cellular level. So
mhm,
the body knows what to do, even through aromatherapy, what to do with that. So that's a great suggestion.
mhm,
Awesome. And next on the list, of course, is meditation. And that's very helpful for gaining clarity. It's basically effortless, really. Most of us end up falling asleep during meditation if it's too long. And that would just be an indication that you're not sleeping enough, right?
Yeah.
So you need to sleep. Meditation can help you reduce your confusion. It helps you to be more in the moment. And when you're in the moment, you reduce distraction and you are focusing, right? And we already talked about putting thoughts to paper, right?
Hmm.
Or just talking to someone
Yeah,
about
I have this book, and I think I just got it on Amazon, but it's like burn after
burning.
writing.
Nice.
And then you can just open it to a page
Right.
every day, and it just gives you when
It's
this.
prompts, right? To
Yeah,
help you. Right?
absolutely.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
things that you need to release, things,
Yeah.
it asks you questions and it asks you to write things out. And then I
Burn
was
it.
I was gifted this, yes. And so I write in it. I just pick a page
Awesome.
and write because sometimes I
That's
don't even
awesome.
know what I need to clear out.
And you know, it's so helpful because if you're one of those people that gets a lot of new ideas all the time, that's just bouncing around in your head all the time. So it's taking up space.
Yeah.
Take those ideas and put them on paper. And
Hmm.
then you can prioritize those ideas too. Which ones that you're never going to deal with, burn them. If you are, put it in a different spot. Like get it out of your head and learn to store it somewhere outside of yourself. It makes it more manageable and for you to have clear thoughts. And
Right.
then you know you're creating some more space in your mind to help release something else, right? Because you're just getting to another layer. So the
Right.
more junk you release, more clutter you get rid of, like you're just creating space for something good to come in.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. But putting things on paper also reminds me of journaling. And we talk about journaling every single time we do a video. But the difference between putting things on paper and burning it is journaling, you have an intention, right? You're
Hmm.
putting down your ramblings and your feelings and your thoughts, and you're you have more of a focus with journaling. So
Hmm.
it's something to reflect upon. Where putting things on paper to get rid of them is just that. It's just to get them out of your brain. They're useless information,
Hmm.
burn it up. So that's how I know the difference between journaling and
Yeah.
writing it down.
And,
I
and
swear we're broken records when it comes to
I
journaling.
know, but it's like we got to keep talking about this because it matters. It really matters.
It does. And you know, eventually someone who's going to say, you know what? I've heard you say journaling 17,000 times. I finally bought a journal. You can't beat them. Join them.
I don't know how many times you and I just hand out notebooks to people like, here,
Here,
please, just write
please,
something.
can you write your name in it at least?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that moves me forward to set and complete your priorities. Now, this one was kind of interesting when I really thought about it because you know that really long to do list we all have stuck in our head.
Hmm.
We look at it and go, well, where do we start? Right? It's
Hmm.
not, don't even bother. It's too long. I can't get to it. Those things on that list are stuck in your mind and they're taking up valuable space. Okay. So you want to start organizing them and organize them in a way that makes sense to you. Right. So is if you know something really, really needs to get done, but you hate that task and you're not going to do it, don't put it at the top of the list because you know you're not going to do it.
Hmm.
So look at your schedule and look at it in a way that it's easy for you. Is it easy for you to manage by time? Okay, that one's only going to take me 10 minutes. So
Hmm.
that can go at the top of the list. Or is it by, paying the bills? Well, none of us want to pay bills. We put it at the bottom of the list and it goes down there because it's a very rigid deadline, right? Our brains do not like rigid deadlines.
No.
So for anything that has a timeline on it, you have to mail this by then, you have to pay this by then. It's so going to make it to the bottom of the list without even you trying.
Yes. Yeah.
So really think about you know yourself and you know how you're going to do things. If it's about how long it's going to take to do that thing, put it at the top.
Hmm.
If it's not, switch up how you do things.
Yeah.
Yes. And
File it. Just file it.
file it. Yeah.
You can't get to it this month or you don't want to
Yeah.
get to it this month, file it. Don't keep thinking about it.
Yes.
You've made a decision to not work on this project for the month.
Yes.
Why are you leaving it out in the open for you to
Hmm.
look at every day
Yeah.
and just remind yourself that you have to get to it? Instead, if you put like a month on it and then like revisit it in
Yeah.
a
I
month.
just I just always say I'm going to shelf that for now.
Yeah,
I'm going to shelf that for
yeah, absolutely.
just remember you're working with yourself and you know yourself better than anyone else.
Hmm.
So just be kind to yourself and don't put such high expectations on that to-do list. Okay?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Because
Okay. And
then you get in your own head about that. Then you're in your head thinking about your to-do list. No,
yes.
don't
Yeah.
like cut that off.
Yeah,
Stop.
exactly. Then you've just put more clutter into your space.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um and then I kind of like went on a side note about multitasking because that kept resurfacing when I was thinking about this conversation.
Hmm.
And I know that I've talked about it, but I feel like we get lost in time when we're multitasking, right? Like time just gets away from us because we're like, we're doing this and we're doing that, and then we're doing this and we're doing that. We're like, where did the time go? Right? It's just too much going on. Before you know it, you get up in the morning, you're doing a million things before you leave the house. And before you know it, you're 5 minutes late. And
Hmm.
then that makes your drive late, and then you're just like, oh, you got all these thoughts in your head. It's like, maybe I could take this way to get there faster, and now I can't stop at Tim Hortons because I'm like 5 minutes too late and the lineup's going to be too long. Like, everybody has moments like that, right?
Yes.
So I would suggest that for multitasking, if you need help with that, to set a timer on your phone, right? And just give yourself a certain amount of time to do certain things, even when you're putting the laundry away, or even when you're getting ready in the morning. Like, I have 15 minutes and that coffee better be done. I can't sit here for an hour and just savor it. Sorry, I'm on a clock for myself this morning. Putting yourself on a timer says, okay, I've drank my coffee in 15 minutes. That's out of your mind.
Hmm.
You're not multitasking anymore. You're just sitting for 15 minutes to have your coffee. You're focused. You're spending some time with yourself. Then you move on to the next thing. Let's say is go to the washroom, brush your teeth, right? And you give yourself times for that too. It just kind of helps with the multitasking, not like taking your coffee into the bathroom with you while you're doing your hair and stuff like that, right? Because we've all done it.
Yeah,
We're all like victims of ourselves.
absolutely. Oh, we lost you, Jenny. No, mute. Is your headphone still plugged in?
Who muted me?
There you go.
And that just brings you more into the present moment. Like
Hmm.
when you're not multitasking, when you're giving yourself the time to, you know, sit with your child and help your child do their homework, you're more present for them too. And then you
Hmm.
might learn something and have a little bit of fun at the same time. Or give yourself the time to cook dinner rather than do those two things at once. And you don't have the worry of, burning dinner and your child saying, you're not really paying attention. You're not helping me.
Hmm.
Right?
Well,
Because you're,
even cooking dinner, how many people do
yeah,
not do a million things while you're cooking dinner?
exactly. Doing
We,
the dishes, cutting up vegetables, all those things at one time.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
just never ending, right?
Yeah.
Like we put all that on ourselves. We do that.
We sure do.
Yeah.
Hi, Jen. Hi, Amanda. Yes, that's more
Hi,
ladies
Lainey.
joining us. If you haven't joined us from the start, this is recorded, so you can always go back and watch it after. And then I moved into practicing being decisive, right? Sometimes spiritual clutter or that litter that we have going on, it's just delayed decisions. That just means you're procrastinating. That's a nice fancy word for saying, I'll do that later. I'll think
Mhm.
about that later. Well, then later sometimes never comes.
Yeah.
And so that decision and that thought just is roaming around there in our head, taking up space, right?
Taking up space.
When you could have just made a simple decision in the moment, be done, right? And then that you've moved on.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Mhm,
Oh, yes,
mhm.
definitely we've all done that.
A
Yeah,
bazillion times.
yep. That's why we end up having that big spring clean. Right?
Yeah,
I'll do it later, right?
yeah.
I'll go through that stack of clothes later. Well,
Mhm.
we realize that that is just clutter. And it's keeping us from something.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
And then how about those negative thoughts?
How about those negative thoughts?
Ugh,
You and I
those
were just
things.
talking about that.
We actually were. And
Yeah.
they can be debilitating and they can actually bring your vibration in the room from here way down to here.
Mhm.
Right? And and we'll give an example, right? We were discussing, we were just having fun and, and laugh and laughter and celebrating a friend's birthday. And then a topic of conversation comes up, and literally all three of us, because there was only three of us there, the vibration all went whoo, like this, and we all felt it.
Mhm.
So I think we all got to sit in it before we really kind of worked through it until today. And then we decided that maybe that topic of conversation doesn't have room in what we're doing now
That's
or in the
perfectly
moment.
said. Yeah, it doesn't have room.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So amongst the three of us, we could have a conversation and just say, that's not something I'm going to be talking about anymore. And that is okay, actually.
Mhm.
People actually will feel much better when you address something like that, like addressing the elephant in the room, whatever.
Right, exactly. And that's like it like you said, it took us all, a day or two to kind of be like,
Yeah.
I didn't like that. Like, you
No.
go from way up here to, like you said, way like,
Way, way down. And it was only just a topic of conversation that did
yeah,
that.
it wasn't anything bad. It wasn't
Nope.
any like it was just, yeah, it just
Yep.
turned things, and we don't it's like you don't have room for that crap.
No,
Like,
we really don't.
right?
Right. And just like, how do I say, similar to that is when you're feeling sad
Yeah.
or when you're feeling disappointed. Those can throw you and yourself right under the microscope, just like that experience did to all three of us.
Yeah.
Because you could see it on our faces. We're all just like, huh.
Huh.
Right? And it takes us into a thought for a moment, distracts us from being in the moment that we're in.
Yeah.
Right? So it was really a good lesson.
It actually, yeah,
Um,
it was. You're right. It was.
right? Because dealing with it is healthy, right?
Mhm.
Not dealing with it is kind of like just sweeping it under the rug, adding to
Mhm.
that pile of clutter, and nobody needs that.
Mm-mm.
So you don't want it to just pile up there. You don't want it to become toxic, or you don't want
Right.
yourself to become toxic to yourself, or become a victim in something, right? Like victimizing our thoughts. We say, "Oh, poor me," or missing the red flags. That
Yeah.
was a huge red flag, and I'm so happy that I saw it. It was like it was a giant flag.
And we didn't even know that we each felt that way until something was said about, right? Like,
Yes.
we had
Yep.
no idea that we were all feeling that way. So, it's just
Yeah.
something that we know that it
Just
affected
know
us, and now, okay, that's gone.
that's gone after just one simple
Just
conversation.
one conversation. Yep.
But it did take a few days to articulate it, I think.
Well,
And
like you
sometimes
said, you
giving
have to
yourself
sit in
time.
it. Mhm.
Yeah, you have to sit in it and you have to allow yourself time to kind of like integrate it into your body, your mind, and know how to approach it.
Right.
And sometimes things take more than just a few days or a few moments. Sometimes that's happening for months, right?
Right.
You can't put your finger on how you're going to say something, do something, or you haven't even had the right moment for it to come up for
Mhm.
yourself, right?
Yeah.
So, how do you get yourself out of your own negative thoughts, Kim?
Right. Well, this is something I'm working on. I'm not a negative person.
No, 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 no. Doesn't
I
mean there's not negative thoughts, right?
Yeah, right, and that's the thing. I have pains and aches and stuff that I'm dealing with, and waking up in the morning is like, right, like, come on.
It's
Um,
like you again.
yeah, that's exactly how I feel. And then somebody will message me like, "How are you today?" And it's like the first thing you go to write is, "Oh, I feel like crap." well, then that just makes my whole day.
Your whole day's crap then.
My whole day's crap
Yeah.
because when somebody says how are you feeling, and usually and I was thinking, how do I change that? Somebody's asking how I'm feeling, I'm being truthful, like, oh, my legs are
Hmm.
crappy today, whatever. But I'm finding then that sits with me all day. And I don't like that. I don't
Right.
like that feeling, right? We all have aches and pains. We're all getting older. Everything hurts when we wake up. And it's just, you got to push through it and push through it and push through it. So, right.
Yep.
I don't like talking about it. If you message me, I'm probably achy, but I don't want to say it anymore. I just don't. I
Right.
don't want to say it out loud anymore. It is what it is, and it's a part of who I am, and that's fine. But I don't want to look at it like, I know it's hard to explain. I don't want to look at it as a negative.
Right.
It's a piece of my journey. Whatever I'm going through right now
Right.
has got to happen, right? Because
Hmm.
that's what was planned before I was even here. So I
That's
have
so
to
true.
understand that, right? And so I'm trying to come up with different ways of not kind of poo-pooing on my whole day first thing in the morning, if that makes sense.
The the fact that you're trying
Yes. Oh,
makes
yes.
all the difference.
Hmm.
Um, I just kind of said this to my trainer. I think it was last week, right? Because I'm still recovering, right? And I don't like that I'm still recovering from a surgery that I know that wasn't that not even a year ago. But I had said to him like, okay, this what he wanted me to do was difficult. And he went to say actually, "Oh, that's because of your surgery." And I actually said, "You know what? I I think that I'd like to switch up that and say this is going to be my focus side, right? Because
Yeah.
this is the side that it was all focused on. So I think that this is going to be my focus side from now on." And he's
Hmm.
like, "I love that you just did that." He's just young. He's only like 22, right? But
Hmm.
he's just like, so many people come in there and say, I had surgery on my knee and I have to be careful. I have to be gentle. I can't do that. I had surgery. And like, it just puts you in that victim or not even a victim state. It's just a state of mind that isn't benefiting you. So
I
you're
was
throwing
Yes.
some clutter in there.
I was just going to use that word, the victim,
Yeah.
because that's a really hard word. And when you feel every day, when somebody's asking you how you feel, you almost feel, first of all, you feel like a crybaby some days. Like, I'm not a whiner. Please don't think I'm a whiner. But everybody has their own issues and everybody has their own thing to deal with. And we have to
Hmm.
remember that. Not everybody is a whiner. It's just
Yeah.
life. But how we talk to ourselves and how we let ourselves feel, that's on us. Jenny
Right.
doesn't
We don't
feel like a victim for my pains and aches.
know.
That's one thing, you don't have that. I'm putting that crap on myself.
And we don't want to use our stuff, right?
Yes.
Our focus points, because
Yes.
I'm using them all as focus points now,
Hmm.
um, as a way to create more clutter, right? Because
Yes.
that's very easy to do. Pile it all up, and we have these negative thoughts and
Hmm.
unproductive thoughts, and that's not benefiting anyone or any part
Right.
of um, your life in general. Being more mindful, being more in the moment and present with yourself. It's just another distraction, just another detour because of, right?
Right.
So, really, I'm going to encourage everyone to just have a focus point or focus points, plural, whatever you need. And
Hmm.
that will allow space for more positivity to come in, right? So, you're not just getting rid of the negativity, you're just reshaping it into some space for some positivity.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, I go back with learning in the SRT, which is just an amazing modality, about this discordant energies and
Hmm.
how they feed on us and how we
Yep.
allow them energy and how we allow them to grow within ourselves, in ourselves, outside of ourselves, every which way. We let these energies actually grow. We give them the food. We give them the fuel to keep
Yep.
going, right? And if we don't kind of put a stop to it, just our wording, just, like, I noticed like last week, with the weather, yes, arthritis, all that stuff hurts. But okay, well, today was better than yesterday. Boom, there. I didn't have to say that today's sucky. It's better.
Right.
It's a better day than
Yes.
yesterday. So, I'm not waking up like dreading.
Yeah, and
Um,
then you didn't feed that thing from the day before or the week before, right?
And I always thank God when I wake up. I always thank God for another day on this
Well,
earth.
that leads me to practicing gratitude,
There you go.
right? So, practicing gratitude and compassion for yourself and for others is a big part of shifting all this, right? And it's so easy to do just by being kind to yourself, by being compassionate to yourself and to others. It kind of will just seep right into your everyday life because this is things that we do every day. It's a little bit at a time, and all of a sudden it just becomes who you are. And the gratitude, it'll help remove those negative thoughts and the negative self-talk by putting the litter out all on its own, right? That clutter is just going to go right with it.
Hmm.
So, and of course, just like scheduling time to do laundry and to do time to um not multitask,
Hmm.
you can schedule some time to worry and to vent
Yes,
and to
yes, good.
let it all out. We all have natural fears, but we tend to let them run amok, right? We let them run around in our mind and in our body and in our heart, and then they start to interfere with our life. And rehashing the same thing over and over and over again, or second guessing something, creating hypothetical scenarios or situations in our mind, that's not helping declutter. Okay, we've all done it. We're all like, yeah, we all have done that. So how do we avoid doing that? Okay, we schedule time to worry and ruminate and deep think. We don't hold back. We let it all out. We give ourselves time for that. We can even set a timer. Get that piece of paper out where you're going to take your thoughts and put it on paper, and just say 15 minutes. Whatever's coming out in 15 minutes is going to be out for good, right? When the timer goes off, you're done until your next worry session, right?
Hmm.
And then get back to life, right? Because there's lots to do, and when we put worries on a schedule, then we don't allow them to control the rest of our day, or to take over our life, right? And then worrying or worry time scheduling, it could actually be moments of confiding in a friend. But even though that can be very helpful, it can also be very taxing on our friends, right? It's going to help clear our mind and maintain that clarity. But then, we might be mentally overloading our friends. So
Well,
we
yes,
want to be
exactly.
mindful of that, and we want to ask permission if it's okay to confide. Do you have time for me to like dump all my worries out? And
Mm.
if when you do that, it actually allows your friend or family or whatever to take a moment and say, yes, you can do that, and they're not going to take it on because you
Yeah,
know what, you asked permission, and then
yeah.
they're ready for it.
You always ask the vent.
Yes,
You don't
yes,
want to put that because you don't know your best friend might be having the worst day ever, and you're not just going to call and start freaking losing your mind
yeah.
and freaking out.
Because
You
you
always,
might be the friend that does all that all the time. Oh,
yeah,
I won't call. I'm not picking up the phone again. They're gonna talk about that one thing again and again, right?
yeah.
So you're kind of making your friend feel insignificant,
Hmm. Yeah,
and you're just dumping all your clutter on them.
yeah.
But that's my superpower, Cindy. Your superpower is being super shiny happy. Okay,
Funny,
not worry,
making the
and
room laugh,
funny. Okay, you
make
should be a
everybody
stand-up
laugh.
comedian. And then we lead into decluttering your space, right? So your environment. That helps to keep everything clean and clear. We talked about that at first, right? If
Mhm.
your space is messy, then your brain is messy and you can't keep any thoughts clear or straight. And that is a little bit of a task too, right? Right? For some people,
Mhm.
they just can't get to it. So, my suggestion is to just organize one room at a time.
Yes.
Or if you can't even do that, one section of the room at a time.
Yes.
Guaranteed you'll feel better.
And when I will say when I decided to start clearing out some stuff and doing room by room and stuff like that, I was like at first I was all over. I was like doing a couple things in one room and I
Yep.
was like, oh no 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 no, this is how it has to go. So I stopped myself
Yeah.
because that's oh, you
You'll
just
get nowhere. You will
no.
literally get it's like I
Like,
know people have junk
yeah,
drawers. I
yeah.
think people have junk drawers. It's like living in your junk drawer,
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
right? So, yes, decluttering is
Oh,
very satisfying.
it's
Yes.
so much fun. It's so, although it's hard sometimes when you're like, oh, but what happens if I need this shirt one day? Right?
You can call your friend and say, "Do you have that shirt? I
You,
need to wear it
yeah,
tomorrow."
yeah, but
Just
you
cycle
have
your
to
clothes
let it
between your
go.
friends.
Let it go. Let it go.
Let
Let
it
it
go.
go. Let it go. Yeah.
And all of this, though, my favorite thing to do to help with all that is enjoying nature, right? When you're in nature, you have so many benefits. It's the mental health benefits you get from it, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, because you're just present, right? You can decrease your anxiety and pull yourself out of a little depressive rut just by going for a walk. 5-minute walk. It doesn't have to be long. You'll feel refreshed and restored, and it's really invigorating.
It's a
And
good way to vent.
it's a good way to vent. The earth will take it as long as you're gentle and ask
Mhm.
permission.
Yeah, ask
Um,
permission and let it
yep.
fly. And you're turning that, you're recycling that into the universe,
Right.
and you're asking for it to be let go in color and released. And we're asking Mother Nature to help us, Mother Earth, help us with that.
Yep.
The trees, the sky, the stars, the
All
moon,
of it.
the sun, all of it. It
They're
can
there for us, right? Just we
hmm
need to lean on them. And then you won't feel so heavy, right? Like just a 5-minute walk.
hmm
You're just out there,
Just
you're
go
being
scream out in the
scream.
woods,
Yeah.
scream.
And it lifts your mood after
It
you've
sure
screamed.
does. It
You're
sure
like,
does.
oh, that felt great to just scream it
Yep.
out. Yeah. But remember to enjoy your surroundings while you're out there too, right?
hmm
Like you don't want to just scream out there and scare all the birds away and
Yeah.
like be mindful when you're releasing too also into
Yeah,
that.
Amanda said hug a tree.
Hug a
Absolutely.
tree. Yes, I've done
Absolutely.
that before.
Yeah.
Right? And now, big one for everybody, social media.
Yikes.
Okay, yikes. We're on social media right now. Sorry, guys.
But we're using it for good.
Yes, it's a huge contributor to spiritual clutter, right? We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on TikTok. All of it's great and fun, but it's a waste of time and our energy when we get lost in it, right? It's a lot of sensory overload. You're not in the moment, but we're on it day to day, right? Like
Mhm.
we're always checking in on it. And it adds to the brain some clutter that you have a really hard time getting rid of, right? It's not good for your mental health. And it can keep you sometimes into a loneliness state of mind, right?
Mhm.
You can actually feel feelings of being lonely because you're just watching things on Facebook. You're all by yourself, or you're on TikTok or Instagram. You're not sharing anything, and then all of a sudden it's a trigger. And what do you do with that? Right, Sonia? You take a break. You
Yeah,
unplug.
unplug.
Yes.
But you could
From
pick
all
up
of it.
so much energy on the internet, on Zoom, on this, on what we do right now. Listening to videos or reading messages on social media. You can take all that on yourself, and that's not healthy. That
Right. If you're
is
not
not
prepared for the
healthy.
projection,
Yeah.
right, you'll just
Yeah, you're pulling
like,
in somebody else's garbage again into your space, and that's the last thing you want. You don't
yep.
even want to deal with your own garbage, let alone some stranger's garbage. So we have to. I don't watch the news anymore. I don't. I didn't even really understand like the whole convoy thing going on in Windsor
Right,
because
because
I
you're
don't
taking
watch
all
it.
that stuff and you're putting it into
Yeah,
your mental state,
yeah,
right? You now have opinions of your own. You have others' opinions under there, under yours, or on top of stuff, projections, all kinds of stuff. And you can where you see the very best of others when it's really just their highlights.
yes.
Oh, yes. That's so very true. Yep.
Like Cindy on Facebook can make you smile when you're having a crappy day. Her
I don't
comments
even need
are,
to see anything. I
you
just
know,
see her name and I smile.
there are certain people like Cindy that just they make you laugh and smile
Yeah.
and some of the things.
Yeah.
But then there's like for every one person, there's probably like, 100 that are just crap. So I
And
know I deleted a lot of people on Facebook that
yep.
if I don't talk to you, if I don't see you, my high school friends, I don't, like, I don't even remember them. So why would I have them on Facebook? Right? Stuff like that. Like, it's just,
Well, originally, Facebook was to connect, right?
yeah,
So maybe you did want to reconnect at one time with your high school friends, but that's no longer serving you anymore. Okay,
no,
the clutter that it's just your friends list can create clutter in your life.
yeah.
So review that and declutter. And you know
Mhm,
what? People don't need to take offense. You're not taking offense when
mhm,
they unfriend you. If you understand why you're
yeah.
decluttering, you can certainly understand why someone else might.
And that's an example, deleting like 150 people on Facebook and
Yes.
then them trying to contact you in a different way saying, why would you delete me? It's
Well,
like,
if I deleted you and you
yeah,
wanted
don't
to
put
connect
that,
with me, oh,
yeah,
great. Thank you. Thank you for connecting because that's what I wanted.
yeah,
So, in addition to going outside and taking a
yeah,
break, exercising
yes,
can
ma'am.
come in handy. It's like hand in hand with nature, actually, because you don't really have to go to the gym 3 times a week or you don't have to go running or jogging. But exercise is good for your overall well being because it's all encompassing. Okay. You're using all parts of yourself. Your mind is participating, your emotions are participating, your physical body is participating. You do. Yes. See, I just love you, Cindy.
Ugh,
Love you
Amanda,
too, Amanda.
that's awesome. 6 days a week. That's awesome.
Yes.
Good on you.
Yoga, that's great, Amanda.
Hmm.
Yes. And it's helpful to have it on a regular basis, right? Because you're creating a routine for yourself. You're setting up a space and time for you to not worry and be in the moment and concentrate. And then you'll feel less foggy, right?
Hmm.
And that's all we're trying to do is just empty our minds. And that's what spiritual clutter is just removing it all, every thought and every feeling.
Hmm.
However, removing them all is impossible, like you said, because nobody's perfect. But if we can just simplify them, we can have some more clarity. And that's what I keep saying clarity, right?
Already.
More awareness. And the next time that life throws one of those curveballs at us, like we're ready for it because we're clear. We know where we're at, where everything is sitting for us. And then
So what can you do? What do you do that helps you clear?
uh, oh, I do a pile of things.
But what's your go-to? Like,
My go-to is yoga,
yeah,
definitely,
okay.
and smudging, definitely. So yoga is like Amanda on a daily basis usually,
Mhm.
um, and smudging is on a hourly basis, and that's only because of what I do, right? Because sometimes it's actual spiritual stuff that is keeping house for me, right? Because I am one of the lucky ones. I get to be in my spiritual modalities every day, all day,
Mhm.
right? So making time to cleanse my body and my mind and my energy field, like smudging and doing it properly and cleansing with smudge and salt and prayers is very important for me. So if I don't do that, I will totally feel off. I will feel very, very cluttered, very bogged down. I can't like think of even a word to say.
Mhm.
Um, and like I said, because I do all that stuff, it's just sometimes easier for me to
Mhm.
clear and to talk about getting rid of clutter because I'm doing it on a daily basis, hourly basis sometimes. I know that that is not always easy for some people, but I sometimes have to clear my own spiritual council, like my committee, because I'm in 15 Reiki sessions in a
Mhm.
week. I'm getting messages for other people. I'm connecting to their councils. I actually sometimes just have to check mine to make sure it's all clear. So
Right.
underneath, I can feel grounded, right?
Yes.
My second top thing is going for a walk.
I knew that
Like
one.
and just laughing with friends, right? It's such a high frequency and it's so clearing to me that just get all that funny stuff that I always have going around in my brain all the time out of my
Mhm.
mouth,
Right.
which if you know me, I am very sassy.
She's a sassafras.
So yeah, that's what I do.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
And what's your go-to?
Probably dancing.
Oh, yeah.
like just being silly.
Okay.
Like I kind of was on the weekend. I want
Yeah.
to, that makes me happy. That gives me energy having the music.
Well,
And
you're
then,
physically moving too. You're
oh yeah,
moving things out of
physically,
your body.
yeah. Pretending that I know how to do all these dances and whatever, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to my own drum. So leave me alone,
Right.
right? That's
Well,
all that
there's a
matters.
theme, right? You're being physical in some way,
Hmm.
and you're being mindful of talking and speaking and
Right.
writing, getting things out. So it's really overall just a practice, keeping
Yes.
keeping house or um,
And I like
spiritual
the
clutter.
with the spiritual clutter for me, like, the energies and the souls and spirit that comes through to me so much all the time. Like I am not able to shut it down. So I have to make sure that my litter around me is clean because
Yes.
um, anybody that knows, what I do and the way I do things, it gets pretty hectic
You
sometimes.
don't want your litter getting in the way of someone else's,
No, I
right?
would
You're
never want
supposed
to
to be
do
clean
that.
and clear,
Right.
and you're meeting someone to do
Yes.
something for them, and you're piled up full of junk.
Right.
You're not going to be able to offer
No,
them.
no.
Yeah.
And it has to be cleared, and like even going somewhere to someone's house, for a visit or something, I have to make sure that, my whoever's with me that day, the souls or the
Yeah.
spirits, whoever are with me, cannot come because they weren't invited.
Right. Yes.
Right? So that's cleaning up my own litter around me, the clutter around me of, spirit in and out. And I've also noticed, sometimes you have to call in, like, we cleansed my house last week. And I had to, like, and I'm not used to stepping back for house cleanses. I'm the one usually doing it. But I knew beforehand that I was to step back and to let somebody else do it because it was almost like I was getting too attached to what was in
Well,
my house.
yes. And we have blind spots, right?
Yes,
To
yes.
ourselves.
Hmm.
So we might not see that, or we're so comfortable with that being there that we don't really realize that that's garbage.
Yeah,
That's litter. That's
right.
clutter. That should be gone. Right. So it was pretty awesome to watch you step back and, you know, let someone
Yeah,
else take the reins from.
there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that. And I knew beforehand that I would have to do that, and it was okay because, again, sometimes it gets so full
Right.
that you don't have an inch to move, and
And
we.
just saying that, that encourages me to tell all of you dreamers to, if you can't declutter or you can't help with your own spiritual litter or clutter, reach out to us
Oh, absolutely.
or one of your friends. We will be happy to do
Mhm.
that. Full moon in, oh, see, I missed a message. Sorry, Jacqueline. Full moon in Leo is a great time to release and let go, time for healing.
Full
Absolutely.
moon tomorrow, right? The snow moon.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be pulling a card tomorrow for the full moon. Yes. So
Whew.
yeah, that's a
Mhm.
lot. I know that's a lot. This is something I work on continuously
Mhm.
just because I have the opportunity to all the time. Not everybody can. Um, yes, I will help cleanse you, Cindy Rayler. Yes, and I will see you Saturday.
Mm.
Understanding your truth and standing with your integrity. Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's very, very helpful. Yeah. Anybody
absolutely.
else? Uh,
Anybody have any questions or
yeah, any questions?
anything?
I know I feel like I talked more this time in this conversation,
No, stop saying that. You're
but it
fine.
just all came out when we get topics. It's just like, Blue, you got to say all this and you got to say it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have been by Kim's suggestion. I get all this information and I get guidance and I have all this knowledge. I have been taking our own advice, Kim's and mine, and writing it down. Right? There's been some suggestion that I compile some stuff, and I debated whether I wanted to or not. So, our live conversations, I actually I dictate them to my computer. So they're out of me. They're out of my brain. They're not like cluttering up my stuff or me.
Because the first
So
couple times that we
yeah.
started doing this talk, we didn't have it all, so it was like all over, and oh shoot, I forgot this, and I wanted this,
Yeah.
and I wanted to
Yeah.
say that, and that.
All of a
So
sudden Spirit was just like, Jenny, and it actually
yeah,
gave me instructions to have a little bit of a script. So literally I don't even prep for this. I meditate, and what, an hour before you get the notes, Kim?
yeah,
I sit there and I say exactly what I'm going to say organically, and I send it to Kim, and then I have the notes here sitting by me, which I seldom look at. I just kind of look at for reference if I've missed a topic. But it's almost like they're pre-recorded in me to come out and then downloaded on paper.
hmm,
So they're out of my clutter. They're out of my brain. There's a lot up in here that I need to share. So we have had one request to pull a card for the group. So Kim is pulling a card for all you dreamers that are listening tonight. Water. Wow.
expression, expression.
Expression.
That's what
Oh,
it says.
I love that. It's beautiful.
It is. Okay, so yeah, expression. That's perfect. So water has surfaced to reflect your current thoughts, doubts, and worries. Water is ready to wash away the pollution you
Oh,
are
yes.
drowning in and releasing the
Yes.
emotion draining your natural vitality and positive outlook. Well, if that isn't,
That is so fitting for
yeah.
tonight's conversation.
Water seeks out your sensitivities and asks you to tap into your feelings. You often become overwhelmed when faced with challenging situations, crowds, and people's demands. As water washes away old hurts and pains, it asks you to be aware of the difference between your emotion and those of others. Observe your feelings when the tears flow. Is there blame towards another? Do you feel let down, or are you feeling sorry for yourself? Are you playing the victim, the spoiled brat? Seriously.
Oh my goodness, this could not be more
Yeah.
accurate.
Yeah, if you don't understand your feelings and reactions, how can you flow with life? Water is waiting to soothe, heal, and remind you of your connection with the ebb and flow of the ocean and the pull of the moon. Water invites you to open your heart and become receptive to the feelings and sensitivities of others as you keep your own emotions in check. So I'll wash away worries in order to heal. Check your emotions that cause you to feel. Cleanse and refresh, connecting to sea. Dive into your heart and swim. Now you are free.
That's so fitting. Thank you, Kim.
Wow.
That is a nice way to end this conversation.
Absolutely. That was on point.
Okay, thank you, dreamers, for joining us tonight in this conversation. I liked all the interaction.
Mhm.
We'll be on again next week. I want to say always me because Kim's the one that's encouraged Tuesdays with Jenni. Apparently, I have things to say or share, and so I kind of like drag her into it with me. She
As
thinks I'm
long as you don't get sick of me.
she thinks I'm getting sick of her, not even at all.
And if anybody has a certain topic that they would like to hear about or
Yes,
that
I
can
would love it.
suggest,
Yeah.
that would be also pretty cool to put
That
in
would
the
be awesome. Yeah, I get every single topic usually is given to me in meditation. Kim asked about this one, and it came right through with all of this stuff. So we're on the right track,
Yeah, I heard spiritual like litter last week
right?
in a conversation with somebody, and I had to write it down right away because I was like, oh, that makes so much sense to,
Yeah.
talking with Jenny about stuff like that. So,
So yeah,
um,
she suggested the topic, right? And then it just went from there. So if any of you have a topic of conversation, um, I feel like it'll be guided through me. So whatever you want to hear, let's hear it. Upcoming 22222 portal energy. That is a whole hour in itself. Okay.
mhm.
Okay. We will consider that one definitely. I'll go and check in on that first. Thank
Yeah,
you, Brooklyn.
portals. Yeah.
Okay, dreamers, have a great night. And
Thank
we'll
you,
see you
Jenny.
again
Thanks,
next week.
everybody.
Thank you.